So he's Australian. I think that's right. Yeah. And so he was vacationing in Thailand once upon a time, and he ate some chicken that was questionable, and he got such severe food poisoning. He had necrosis of his hands and feet. The doctors wanted to amputate everything,
Holy
and
shit.
he got himself. He denied the medications. He denied the operation. He demanded red meat, and he got healthy.
Just off of how did he come to this conclusion so quickly? Like,
I mean, he kind of knew it on an intuitive. He's a smart one, this guy.
oh, okay. That's fucked up, man. Off of some chicken.
Yeah, I know. I ate chicken the other day for the first time in since last summer. It was a good time though. I got it from the Amish where they don't feed them any nonsense. The birds get to wander around and eat bugs and rodents and worms and all that good stuff.
Okay. Oh, and then Jane, before you go into your rundown, I also wanted to give a little quick intro as to how George and I got to know one another.
So wait, should I get into my whole?
No, wait, hold up till we start.
Officially begin. Sorry, man. We usually have a little ramp up prior to the official recording.
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
is cussing permitted on here or anything like that?
We encourage it.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
dude. All right, that's fucking fantastic because on so many of these, I have to bite my tongue and act like I'm sudden.
We don't
I'm so civil, like I'm not some asshole from the Northeast.
I think you and Jane are gonna get along fine because she's a big fan of East Coasters.
I mean, if she really wants me to talk with my native tone, I really can. That annoying New York accent.
Let it fly, brother. Be you.
No, that's kind of forced. I outgrew that when I was young.
Wait, did you outgrow it just because you knew people weren't going to dig it, or you were just like you yourself because I don't like the way I sound?
No, I think when I got moved to Jersey, I kind of snapped myself out of it. I remember when I started school down here, though. The kids were like, you don't really have an accent for being from New York. And I'm just like, I guess not. I was told, though, growing up, when I would get drunk, it would come out, but...
the accent's in the wine, then. I see.
Yeah, and Vino Veritas.
It always comes out then, man.
Yeah. But, all right, so... Wait.
Are you thrown off have you been thrown off then by the last appearances that you have recorded where they told you, oh, by the way, hold off on the swearing?
No, well, that just I was just trying to be cordial, so it just kind of went without saying.
Okay.
But on me, I basically with Liam, I told my story more in depth because we had a lot more time. Meet RX was like a half hour.
Oh, okay. Well, we're shooting for 90 minutes max. I don't know how much. If that's enough or not enough. So
the way these people reached out to me is because I was talking a lot in the carnivore spaces because in 2019, I had a root canal done and pretty much right after it, my ear got this pressure, tinnitus developed, all these weird symptoms started coming on, but it didn't seem familiar. It seemed like a blockage in the ear that needed to get drained and just couldn't come out. I went to urgent care and they didn't have they didn't see wax like they did a couple months ago and drained it and it felt better. And then I just got really sick really quickly. In 2 weeks, I couldn't walk. I had vertigo, drunk spins. I had nystagmus so bad that when my doctor first saw me, he thought I had a fucking brain tumor. Like that was his first impression. The first specialist I went to was an ENT who didn't really do anything. He gave me a course of oral steroids, which of course weren't strong enough. My girlfriend had to drive me to every doctor. She had to fill out every form because 60% of my eyesight was out. Like, I couldn't have told you the time it was on my phone. It was to that type of degree. And it just got worse and worse. The whole right side of my body eventually went paralyzed. Like I couldn't do it. Like I was pissing the bed. It was, it was really just dark. And after I think 8 weeks, when I finally saw a neurologist after my MRI, the MRI imagery was horrifying. It was like just white and gray matter all over most of my brain. And he was like, you need to go right to the hospital and be on IV steroids for 5 days. So I did that. I was given 1,000 milligrams of Solumedrol for 5 days, like 1,000 milligrams each time. On the third night, the fucking nurse guy didn't hook up the saline to go with it, so I got the whole bag in a half an hour, and I went into a fucking rage on this guy who was completely spun on amphetamines.
Wait, the
nurse.
Why was he spun?
Daniel, I'll never forget his fucking name, Daniel.
Damn, Daniel.
I know. Damn, Danny. Dude, I lost my shit on this guy. My girlfriend thought I was about to get up and hurt him. And mind you, this was the third day of the steroids. So I only just got my ability to speak back yesterday. Because I couldn't form sentences. I couldn't hold coherent conversations. I couldn't form coherent thoughts. I couldn't sequence anything. It was bad. I was retarded on every single level. And if you saw the MRI, yeah, I'm trying to get that imagery. I'm getting another one done next month. I'm trying to get all the images because I'm supposed to show this to an audience of doctors this coming fall, but that's something else. I digress. To damn Daniel. Yeah, damn Daniel I thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was really scary. 1,000 milligrams of Solumedrol with no saline. It's supposed to be saline 2-to-1 with that stuff, and you're supposed to get it over 90 minutes. And I got the whole thing with no saline in 30.
All right, so I'm slightly familiar with how, bags work and everything, but what did you feel physically when you got that much in such a short time?
Turning into the Incredible Hulk. But because of how just negligent that fucking guy was and how that happened, dude, I was furious. I absolutely snapped. I called the head nurse on the floor. I got him suspended for 4 days. I didn't let him back into my room because I was not comfortable with him doing anything with my shit after that.
Right.
But so I get out of the hospital after 5 days. I've recovered the ability to speak a little bit. My eyesight's it was good enough to see things, but it still wasn't great. I didn't get prescribed a steroid taper. So 24 hours after the last dose of the steroids, I started violently vomiting just over and over until I was throwing up bile and then nothing else. I ended up having to go to the neuro on an emergency basis, and he prescribed me an oral round. And then I got stuck on oral steroids for 5 months. And when I first got the diagnosis, multiple sclerosis. And I also, apart from all the brain matter, I also had 3 lesions on the cervical spine, which caused me tremendous agony for a year. But so Yeah, so starting that year out, I immediately when I got sick, I knew like certain foods were getting me fucked up. Like, and I always kind of knew that my whole life, but I didn't understand the full gravity of it until I really started cutting things out. And so the first things I wanted to eliminate were like sugars, refined grains, wheat, like anything like that, gluten,
When
soy, and any livestock that eats like
was this?
glyphosate.
Sorry. Okay.
Sorry, what?
When was this? So we haven't started yet. Do you want to save this?
No,
Oh,
this is perfect. Everybody, welcome to Endless Ranters. We're doing a very special 2-on-1 interview with my friend George. Much
what
like,
up,
yeah, don't worry. Much like my co-host Jane, I met George through a Facebook group for one of my favorite bands, Every Time I Die, and we slowly started communicating, bullshitting back and forth, and then all of a sudden, his
Yes.
life took a crazy left turn to the more harrowing and gnarly, which is what he'll be discussing with us today.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
so just a little background why we're doing this episode. It's basically to indulge my curiosity about his 100% raw meat diet. So a lot of us, being Adam Carolla fans, we're familiar with keto because he has a regular guest named Vinny Tortorich, who is a big keto advocate, no sugar, no grains. And I know a lot of people that found Vinny through Adam have had a lot of success on that diet. And there's now a whole kind of a subsegment of that of people who go carnivore diet. And I followed a few of those people and I've tried it myself. And I think I feel so much better when that's all I eat. Like my gut feels clear. I feel calm. It's just hard to commit to for a long period of time. But I'm really interested in people's stories about finding this diet, especially because I don't have any detrimental health problems, but other people do, and they've really healed themselves through this diet. And that's why we have George here today, because he has a really interesting health comeback story that revolves around this diet. He takes it another step further, and he
takes it 3 steps further. I've been reading his personal page of like water, milk, butter, like everything. Like he goes deep into it, so it'll be a learning experience for everyone tuning in.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this.
There's the organ meat smoothies. That's how gratuitous and over the top with this I go.
Okay.
I didn't make one today, but the one yesterday involved beef heart, beef liver, beef kidney, elk spleen, bison pancreas, sheep brain, 4 duck egg yolks, and raw milk. And I blended it and drank it. And I shared it with the dog, who absolutely loves it.
All right. Why don't we start from the beginning here and tell us a little bit about how you found your way to this diet? What were you going through and what was this process?
I was going through absolute hell. So when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2019, it was after 2 months of an attack where it started out with just, since the previous spring, my balance and eyesight were getting worse and I was getting like floaters in my eye, but I just wasn't thinking much of it. Then after a root canal, everything came on really hard and really fast. And by the next week, I had vertigo that was like drunken spins that didn't subside for 2 straight months. I couldn't walk. I was throwing up. Like the nausea and vomiting that would go with such intoxication was what was happening to me. And it just, nothing blunted it. Like there was nothing I could do to stop it. I was taking gabapentin and I was taking double the maximum allowed dose, which is 3,600 milligrams. I was
Is that a
taking
medicine for MS?
nerve pain.
Okay.
And it's like Lyrica, if you're familiar with that.
I've heard the name, but yeah.
But there's just all these disgusting fillers that make these pills up that'll make you crazy and sick on their own. So there's like no purpose to them. And I'm sure those played a part in me getting as sick as I did. So yeah, I got really, really sick, really, really suddenly. And I knew immediately, like after the hospital got me back to at least, able to see and somewhat walk on my own with the steroids for 5 days, I knew food was playing a major role in getting me sick. So immediately I cut out gluten, sugar, soy. Well, I thought I had cut out soy, but
how did you know to do that?
Because I was familiar with enough stories in the health spaces. Well, actually, you know what it was? A friend from high school who had heard about my diagnosis first sent me some TED Talk featuring Terry Walls, that physician from Iowa who got multiple sclerosis herself and developed the Walls protocol to get well. And it's like a paleo type diet. So I started doing that first. It was pretty much for a year, it was pretty much meat and greens, but I was still eating stupid shit. Like I was still frying potatoes in corn oil and using spices and all these other things. Like I grew up originally on Long Island where there's pizza, there's bagels, there's Chinese food, there's all of that junk food Americans love to eat. But up there, it's just so damn good and it's so hard to turn away to. So, I mean, it was difficult to let those things go, but I knew I had to. So for a year, but I was also in that year still drinking coffee. Because the MS space will often say that shit like turmeric is anti-inflammatory, curcumin, which, turmeric's like one of the highest oxalate foods there are. I've been off oxalates now for 8 months and I still secrete crystals.
And that's something you find in coffee?
No. Well, oxalates are in a lot of things. Like I was putting turmeric powder in coffee.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But coffee, though, is a different story. Like when I quit coffee, that was like a complete game changer. But I wouldn't have quit coffee without the raw liver. But so after a year of not really, I wasn't getting worse, but I had like no quality of life still. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I take trips now and like actually have fun and enjoy myself. So at the end of last summer was when I was like really considering going all in carnivore because I had seen some incredible anecdotes and Michaela Peterson's with the rheumatoid arthritis, that was definitely one of them. So I figured, well, if she can do this for RA, let me see if I can do this for MS. So I committed for a month. I'm going to try the carnivore thing, but I'm going to do 100% grass-fed red meat. Like grass-fed, grass-finished, in sunlight, all the good stuff. And eat organs. I'm going to eat bone marrow. I'm going to eat those tissues on the bones. I'm making bone broth. So on the first day, I had the liver thawed out from the night before, and I just took some out and I cut it up real small and then cut it across the other way so I could just spoon up a bunch of chunks of it. And I just would spoon them into my mouth and swallow it with water. And I did that with, but actually, you know what? The first time I did that, the first time I ate raw beef liver, I was just, and like, when you are someone as malnourished as I was, and you experience beef liver for the first time, you're just like, holy shit, this is what being healthy feels like. It was just such an incredible feeling that I, from that point, just wanted to see how far I could truly go with this. To see Yeah, because I mean, I figured if I could eat raw liver, like what can't I eat? So
Now, did you feel those effects immediately, or did it take some time to build up?
like within a half hour, I was just like,
Wow.
holy shit, my mood is like the best it's been in a long time.
Had you had liver before,
Never,
either cooked or raw? Okay.
never. I had never eaten an organ meat prior to this experiment.
Wow.
You've never been to Korean barbecue and got like tongue and pancreas and
Well, I've never eaten pancreas. Tongue, yes.
tongue an
Tongue's
organ?
delicious.
I love tongue.
Tongue is really good, but my favorite now is brain. I absolutely love brains.
Fucking zombie George over here.
Dude, they're the best. They're the best source of EPA and DHA and any type of ruminant creatures. They're so good for you. Like you eat a brain and you're just like, damn, I feel great.
Okay.
So
So what aside from, death, imminent death being like a motivating factor and the immediate, positive effects that you felt from eating the beef liver, was there anything else that needed, like any more convincing from you on your end to like continue this or even go more like all in
well,
on the
all right. So, well, when I committed to it, I said to myself at first, I'm gonna try this for like 30 days, and like after the first couple weeks, I was like, I'm doing at least 90 now because like there's something to this. And because at that point I had been so broke for a while, like after 2 weeks, my mother helped me like put down it. I helped get the money up after she did the deposit, but she helped me get half a steer. And like it's all
Is
gone
that
now. It was,
cow, half a cow?
yeah, a male one, so you get all the tests. Like with the MS, I had like no sex drive for a year. I used to need Viagra. Now a midget could do pull-ups on my dick. It's like it. Like
I
the
wish we
proof
had a
is,
midget to test this theory.
if only.
Brad
But
Williams, where are you?
wait, wait.
Oh, that'd be awesome if we did have Brad
Cat
Williams on speed
Williams?
dial.
He's
Yeah,
a
the
midget
comedian.
comedian.
Oh no, because we have a cat here named Cat Williams. We named the
Ah,
cat Cat Williams.
close. I don't know if you want a cat doing pull-ups off your dick though.
Yeah, no, I would imagine that would be slightly uncomfortable.
Just slightly. So, question: you actually brought up something that has always been on my mind about this, like the financial side of taking on this lifestyle. Like, how much of a commitment?
Like
Do I
I have
need deep
I,
pockets, or does the average person need deep pockets? I should say. Rephrase.
I mean, not really, especially if you buy wholesale, but I did have to get creative and find ways to come up with money to fund this for myself because, I mean, as soon as I started feeling better, I never wanted to let it go because
Right.
I
How
was
much-
so sick.
How much do you eat in weight per day? Do you think?
Like usually 2 to 3 pounds.
Okay, that's a lot. I mean, I'm a girl. So when I'm doing it, I'll eat maybe a pound per day, which isn't you can do for pretty cheap. But you're also eating organs in there, and I think
Well, the thing that I do, so I mix it up. Like in the morning, I wake up and the first thing I'll usually eat is some fish roe. It's been salmon lately because I love that stuff. I'll have a spoon of the salmon roe. Then I'll like shuck 5 oysters and eat those.
ugh, not my
Then I'll make the organ meat smoothie, which will usually be all that stuff I mentioned, give or take some tripe.
Uh-huh.
Pancreas was in there last week.
So you didn't go down the ruminant only route, the cow, lamb.
I did.
You did. So you
Yeah, like eating the chicken the other day, that was like the first poultry I've eaten since last summer. And it was only because I got it in Amish country where they don't feed the birds any like GMO corn or soy or any nonsense like that. That makes the stuff at the supermarket unhealthy and makes people in the MS space tell you that eggs are bad and that red meat is bad and all and that saturated fat is bad. Like I consume about like 100 to 180 grams of saturated fat daily between the raw butter and the beef suet. I buy beef suet in bulk, like 5-pound bags. I have, I think, 2 of them still. And I'll put that in a bowl and I'll put on hot bone broth and it just melts and I'll drink it. That's the only thing I still cook though.
Wait, beef suet? What?
The kidney fat.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I get it. US Wellness Meats sells it in bulk, so I buy like 5-pound bags of it and have it that a lot.
Yeah, you've expanded though to salmon and.
Yeah, I do eat salmon sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't eat fish a lot though, because I get the salmon roe and the oysters, and like I'm even kind of iffy about the oysters in terms of mercury, cadmium, lead, like arsenic, all that kind of stuff. Because waters are polluted.
I mean, everything, the reading I've done really just says it boils down to red meat. The ruminant red meat is what really has all the nutrients you need, and
especially the organs are incredible.
I need to get into that because I just haven't. I'm not into the raw. I only do raw ground beef, which scares a lot of people, but it's the to just
raw ground beef's great. That was so like the first. Apart from the raw organs, I got into eating the ground beef raw after maybe a month. Like it didn't take me long to start doing the ground beef raw.
I just got into it maybe a couple months ago, and I was about to cook some, and I was like, oh, I just feel like having a bite of this raw, and then I just couldn't stop. It was like my body was craving it, and I feel like there was something to that. And what's interesting, I know you're in the carnivore group because I've seen you. I think you liked one of my posts.
From the Knutson Torkel.
What's that?
Page. From the Knutson Torkel page.
Yeah. And because I made a post about eating raw ground beef and people like freaked out. You were one of the more supportive.
I was probably like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
If it was tartar, I would have been like, hell yes, tartar fam.
Yeah, well, steak is people feel better about steak, I think, than ground beef because it kind of mixes in and there's more a higher risk. But one thing I thought that was interesting about that, the response to my post was that it was predominantly women who seemed into it. So I kind of wonder if there's something in us craving it more than men. But anyway.
I mean, possibly. Like, I tried getting so many people to try this, and I've gotten so few of them to do it.
I know. I tell people, and I'm like, they're like, what? How do you get your vitamins? They're there. Trust me.
When I tell people about, like, the organ smoothie, it just kind of... But then some of them, like Liam, for example, when I told him about the organ smoothie, he was just like, the amount of nutrition in that just sounds like something else. Like that sounds like about as healthy as you could possibly make something.
Right.
And you think it tastes good? Like you look forward to it, or you like, this is pure sustenance?
No, it's really not that bad. Like,
okay.
Because one, raw milk, which is the biggest part of it, is awesome.
Yeah.
I put raw butter in it too, which also helps. Heart is really tasty. Liver can be really good, but it depends. Kidneys hit or miss. It kind of tastes like piss, but maybe not. Pancreas is pretty tasty. Spleen doesn't really taste like anything. It's just a really weird texture, so it's good to blend. testicles are quite mild.
I
Try-
find
I have a question. So since you had your previous diet was a shitty all-American diet, is there anything that you could relate the taste of what you're eating now to something that we're familiar with, or the average person can be like, ah, okay.
Oh man, that's hard.
So it's really unique.
well,
Then
okay,
the flavors
liver.
are
I would say
Yeah,
liver.
it's
and-
really, it's not bad though. It's just like really, like how the fuck do you describe heart, liver, kidney, testicle, brain, spleen, pancreas, milk, and egg yolks? Like,
right.
So my
Like-
thing about liver and heart is they taste like blood. Like it reminds me if I got a cut in my mouth, you like you get that bloody taste, and
Yeah,
that's
a
what it
little
reminds me of. So I don't find it very appetizing.
Yeah,
When-
I could see that with liver. Yeah.
liver can be really good though. I got this care package sent to me from this dude in Buffalo who I helped. I gave him advice with because he was talking about like bad symptoms with being reminiscent of MS and neurological dysfunction. So I told him like what I eat, how I do it, where I get it. And like now he's in the best shape of his life
Cool.
and all that. But he got me a care package from Amos Miller Farm. I think they're in Pennsylvania. Like raw milk, and there was beef liver in there, and that was the best beef liver I've ever eaten. When I put it in my mouth, I was just like, holy shit.
It was so good that he froze on us. That's how delicious it was. I know.
All right, we'll give him a second. Yeah, so this week actually leading up to this, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do carnivore. So I have only eaten meat, eggs, and black coffee this past week. Anyway, George, you back?
Oh, I'm back.
Cool.
All right, so best beef liver, and then you froze.
Yeah, Amos Miller Farm. It was a care package got sent to me from Amos Miller, and it was the best liver I've ever eaten. It was like actually delicious. It was like shockingly delicious. I've had kidneys that are like that too, though. Like some kidneys can be really tasty. And like some taste like piss, but it all comes with the territory.
Okay. Wow, you're really well versed. I'm gonna have to. Yeah. Now I don't know what to. I feel like your opinion can form based on maybe a bad sample. So now maybe I need to try better liver. I don't know if I've ever had kidney, but I'm pretty adventurous when I go to Korean barbecue. What about intestine? I find intestine was unbearable.
I would totally try. I would try intestines because intestines are supposed to be the best thing you can do to heal gut damage. Eat the organ you wish to heal, they say.
Ah.
Okay.
All right.
And no doubt I've done a ton of damage to mine over the years through various facilities.
Right.
Whether sickness, drug abuse, or prescription drugs that were given to me for one stupid reason or another.
Yeah.
So yeah, my next question for you is, do you see doctors now? And if so, what do they think if you're telling them about this?
So
give us a impression from like when you were deathly ill to now.
Well, dude, when I was deathly ill, I was just always like, doubled over in pain, like crouched over, like always stoned out of my mind because I needed to be just to like not be suffering so bad to get myself from that bed to the doctor. So this time when I saw the MS specialist, it was like last month. It was the first time I'd seen him since I think last August. And he couldn't believe his eyes. I was standing up tall. I was up 25 pounds, like, of healthy weight. And all of, like, the neurological tests, where they ask you to rotate your hands, like, one way and then the other with your pointer finger out, or extend your arms and then touch the tip of your nose. Like, I did all of those tests perfectly. My vision was better. Like, I was back to 20/20 in each eye.
Nice.
Wow.
And, I had the blue blocking glasses on at the office, of course, because of the light at the office.
Right.
What is that for? Is that
Blue light blocking glasses. About a month after I got introduced, well, after maybe about 2 weeks in the whole carnivore space, before I was kicked out of and banned from the Healing Multiple Sclerosis Naturally group, I asked that group how to get. Yes, because I was talking about healing MS without taking supplements and eating red meat and fat, and they didn't like that.
Wow.
Well, I also mentioned how awful coffee is for you, and they really didn't like that. Because when I said that I gave up coffee, like, I gave up coffee on the second day of the carnivore experiment because I ate raw liver in the morning, like, right away. And on the second day, I threw my coffee up, like, violently threw it up. And I just didn't touch it again after that until one day, I think it was last January, I ate some shitty bacon from Costco and got really bloated and constipated and just felt horrible. So the next day, in a feeble attempt to try passing it, I drank coffee. And, like, the next day, my knee gave out going up the stairs.
Did you have the turmeric in it?
No, not that time. It was just black.
So just black coffee? Huh. See, I love coffee. I love my morning coffee.
And it was organic coffee too, so I thought I was in the clear. But I used to love coffee because pretty much from 2009 to 2017, I was a pretty hardcore junkie. And when any of them get clean, even for the first time, they become really badly addicted to coffee.
Or cigarettes.
Oh, those two, of course, cigarettes.
Yeah.
What about alcohol? Where are you with that?
I don't really drink anymore. Like, I had a few shots of tequila, like, on Wednesday, and I still don't feel completely right.
Wow.
Like, yeah, dude, it was the first time I had drank Tito's twice, once on my birthday and once on New Year's. And, like, I was hungover and didn't feel great the next day, but it wasn't, like, terrible. This just, like, I regretted it, like, badly the next day.
But I was like the Tito's then.
It's hard to know, like, how much of that is the alcohol or how much of is it the other ingredients that you're not used to.
Well, like, yeah, when I drank Tito's, it wasn't nearly as severe. But it was Don Julio, Like, beer and wine are so much worse, like, for those who must drink hard liquor.
Yeah.
Like, when I wasn't hard.
To stick to that. But not too much, because I feel like I'm such a lightweight now.
I used to be bad with I wasn't terrible, but when I would drink, I would take, like, a whole bottle to the face with, like, a couple other people in one sitting.
Wow.
Like, I would just do shit to excess like an idiot. And it caught up with me, but yeah, it all came back, like, really quick with the whole carnivore thing. And I got off the prescription drugs I was on. And when I saw the MS doctor again, he couldn't believe it. And because they try so hard to push those fucking awful drugs on you.
Right.
Like, I was given Ocrevus first, the one they have those commercials for it, and it gave me like the worst 6 months of my life. I could not get out of bed. I could barely walk. I just had like no life in me for like 6 months. Hair was falling out. It was just awful. And then I got rituximab after that, which is just as toxic. And dude, it was such a bad.
I think we're starting to learn, or at least those of us who are sort of open-minded and kind of doing some research, that you can really heal a lot of stuff with diet.
You really can. Yeah. And light is really important. Light. When people hit me up for advice about this stuff, the first things I usually talk about are blocking blue light and then just like light, water, and magnetism before I get into food.
Hold up, tell me more about that. Blue light, like on your screen?
Yeah, like phone, computer, TV screens, like fluorescent light bulbs, like pretty much any store or building is going to be lit with. Like like I have an infrared on one behind me.
Right. So so your glasses are red.
I got my blue blockings right here.
And so is it red in? I'm trying to understand, like you have something to.
It blocks all blue and green frequencies. Like the last lingering symptom of anything neurological I was having would be these periodic brain zaps I would get. And since I got these, I haven't gotten them.
Yeah.
What do these zaps feel like?
It would be like this really, you know, that like pins and needles in a waking limb feeling?
Oh.
Yeah.
It would be like that in the back of my head, but like really intense and last for like only a couple seconds and then pass. And this would happen like once or twice a year from the time I was like 15 years old until the MS attack happened. And when that happened, it was like that happened, but really stronger, but something was different about it. And it was like something popped when it happened, and then just everything went to hell pretty quickly.
Blocking blue light has helped that.
Yeah, because, all right, so when you look at a screen, it signals to your eyes that it's noon, no matter what time of day it is. Like, that alone is enough to totally throw off your circadian rhythm.
Wow.
And,
okay.
like, keep you
but
up.
Maybe you want that in the morning, you know? Like, it helps wake you up.
You just want to get outside and look at the sun. Gotcha. Like, getting outside between, like, when the sun rises and like 10 a.m. and like the sooner you can be to daybreak when you're staring at the sunrise, the better. But between then and 10 a.m., just that sun is the most healing frequency of the sunlight.
Yeah, I think it's also, I think the sun gets a bad rap. I mean, you shouldn't overdo it, but I agree that getting out there, no sunscreen, like let your skin absorb a little bit.
It's cosmetics, it's sunscreen, it's all that stuff that's giving people skin cancer. It's not the sun. It's that and the excess omega-6s and seed oils and all of that trash that people consume that is causing us to be insulin resistant, leptin resistant, just like metabolically broken on all these levels. And when you're metabolically broken, as I knew for a long time, because they diagnosed me when I was 20 years old as schizoaffective, and it was on the money. And it was for like 9 years after that too. But when you really correct gut and psychology syndrome, like insulin resistance, all that stuff, it's like you achieve nirvana. Like nothing hurts anymore. You're always in a good mood. You're always upbeat. You're always you can't help but just smile like all the time because.
Yeah, Manny, I got a question for you. How long have you known this guy?
Within the last few years, the group
didn't form. So you know him for a while.
I want to say 2017.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say 17.
And then 2 years after is when everything kind of took a dramatic turn.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what are your observations, Manny, of him in this transformation?
I was genuinely worried when the news first broke that he was having issues,
but like him before that.
Him before that, we had limited interactions.
Nuts.
Yeah, he was nuts. So the limited interactions I had with him was like, this is a wild individual.
He was this wacko from the East Coast.
Yeah. And then seeing the transformation to who he is now, it's just like a complete 180. It's just like, is this still George? I mean, he still has like that wild side as far as like, what is it? His, outgoing nature, that sort of stuff. But like, he's more mindful about his diet and just like, it's an interesting observation for sure.
Okay. So you do see a big transformation, because usually you hear these stories and it's their own self perspective. Mm-hmm. And I'm always curious, like they feel really different, but do other people observe that in them in the same way?
And just in the way that he's talking about, how to eat properly and what to eat, and like it's all on his Facebook page. Like he champions this shit.
Yeah.
It's about he walks the walk.
All right, so George, my next question for you: how does this affect your social life? Like how, like going out to eat with friends?
I haven't. All right, so I actually did eat something cooked like 3 days ago. I was really craving smoked brisket, so I went to the barbecue place and got a pound of Texas style brisket, which of course more than doubled in price. But I didn't react badly to it, but it didn't feel good because of the pepper. Like I haven't had pepper in a while.
It was just people. Was this like a social thing? They made
my cousin I was with.
Okay.
But like I've gone out so many times before that and just like sat there while other people are eating.
Okay, so you won't even do the cook. What if you just cooked it yourself without any additives?
I mean, I used to cook it myself, but then so on Valentine's Day, it's on my Facebook wall. I live streamed my first raw ribeye. Like I took and it was a pound and a half. I take a bite of this raw steak. And this was the first one I'd ever done. And as I'm
Were you celebrating Valentine's Day with someone?
My girlfriend was in the room when I was doing this.
Did she partake in this?
She doesn't eat the raw meat. I have gotten her to eat raw liver and kidney with me. She's eaten cooked heart with me.
Okay.
And I got her to eat bone marrow too. But she doesn't do it on the regular. Like she takes a couple different desiccated organ supplements, but like she's just so damn addicted to sugar and carb junk. Like as a former junkie, like raging junkie, like chasing dragons, like that kind of junkie. And the addictive nature of junk foods is so similar to that of hard drugs, it's almost freaky. Like the physical discomfort will be nowhere near as severe with the junk food in comparison to drugs. But like the way your mood swings and you go up and down from, hyperglycemia and all of those other types of things, like people underestimate the power of the vagus nerve, the thing that connects your gut to your brain. Like when you have a gut feeling, it's your vagus nerve talking to you.
Yeah, there's a reason why we have that term.
Yeah, and I think because, if you saw my last MRI, now that all the white and gray matter has cleared up, it looks like Swiss cheese. There are lesions all over it. And some are pretty big. If you looked at it, you would have thought it belonged to a corpse.
Jesus.
Wait, explain that. Lesions all over your.
I don't know how many there are, but it's
Sorry, MRI brain. I don't know all this medical.
this is all stuff that I
I.
ended up learning like after I got sick, because this was all, it all
Right, you
comes
were
with the
kind of immersed in
territory.
it. Right.
Yeah, so with multiple sclerosis, they diagnose it by there being 3 or more lesions on your brain, 3 or more on your spine. And I had 3 on my cervical spine, and I forget how many on the brain, but I think it was like, I don't know, 7 or 8, but they were pretty big ones.
And so you're saying that that's all cleared up.
Well, I'm getting another MRI next month, thankfully without the contrast this time, because that stuff's horrible. But I will see now. There will be radiologic evidence as to whether or not I've actually healed anything just by eating brains.
And how have the doctors reacted? Because I know that they have a shallow understanding of diet and all that. Do you still get a lot of pushback, or just like, I don't believe it, when you go visit any of your doctors?
Well, all right. So my primary doctor, the one who ordered my first 2 lipid panels, because I got one done after 30 days and I got another one done after 4 months, just out of curiosity. So the first one, my total cholesterol he freaked out after the first one. He wanted to put me on a statin. I told him absolutely not. But my total cholesterol was 349. My LDL was 249, the colloquial bad cholesterol.
Right.
My HDL, the colloquial good one, was low at 42, and my triglycerides were sky high at 190. And he really wanted me on a statin, and so did my obese vegetarian cardiologist. But so, like, so 3 months after that test, I got another one of these done. My total cholesterol came down to 316. My LDL went down to 227. My triglycerides dropped from 190 to 72. My HDL went up from 42 to 72.
Nice.
What is the ratio for? Okay, so the ratio they say to focus on is triglycerides to, I forget if it's HDL or LDL.
HDL. You ideally want higher HDL than triglycerides.
Right.
But like a ratio of HDL to triglycerides of 1 or less, they say, is perfect. So I corrected metabolic dysfunction. My A1C hemoglobin at that time came in at like 4.4.
Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that.
Under 5 is what they say is the best, but like the lower you can get your A1C, the better. I forget all of the info on that. Like, I geek out on this stuff like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, how much research have you done on your own outside of the research whatever research or information the doctors were able to give you?
Well, dude, the doctors. All right. So that's what I'm saying. For as long as I've been in and out of doctors' offices all my life, no matter what it's been, not one of them has talked about anything functional like sunlight and eating right. Because like none of them are trained and none of them really know themselves. Like this is all just kind of stuff you have to look for yourself. But when you look, the anecdotes are like really compelling, and there are a lot of them. And I mean, that was what convinced me to get into this. But
yeah, I'm glad you had been exposed a little bit to it before, once you got MS.
Yeah, well,
let your instincts drive you. Is that how it felt?
Yeah, because all right, so when I got the MS, they were saying like, don't eat red meat. And I was just like, even though I was still on like that grain finished nonsense, even if it was probably just some feedlot stuff from the supermarket,
Right.
I recognized that every time I ate red meat, I felt better than if I ate anything else. So understanding that whole like signal to noise type thing is really important for getting yourself out of a really desperate autoimmune hole. Like, and I never got diagnosed formally with any type of arthritis, but I'm sure there was some. Like, my left ankle and knee used to be bad, be painful, and like give out. My right shoulder was bad, and my right hip. None of them bother me anymore, and I just, holy shit, my hip's not popping. Dude, when I raise my knee and then extend my leg, my right hip would always pop. It just didn't pop for the first time, and I don't even know how long, but damn, that felt nice.
So what about your sleep? Did you notice a change there?
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. So this is a good one, actually. Like at the beginning, well, so with me, it's kind of complicated because when I started carnivore, I was still taking prescription drugs. So at the beginning, I was still taking Klonopin to go to bed, like for the first month and a half, 2 months maybe.
All right, what is that? Is it like an Ambien?
It's a benzo. It's like Xanax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, all right, so I kicked Klonopin. I had been on Klonopin for 4 years until 2017, the first time I got off of them in jail. And
whoa. We got another story here. All right, keep going with the sleep.
But and then when I got off them in 2017, and then when I got sick with the MS and I had vertigo, the neurologist put me back on it. And at that point, like, I was willing to because I was just in such hell that I wanted something to alleviate it. And I mean, dancing with the devil with that stuff. But kicking a benzo carnivore isn't shit. I couldn't believe it. Like, I thought I was going to die in 2017 when I kicked a benzo, especially in jail in Alabama, cold turkey.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, what did you do to get in jail? Let's sidetrack here.
Oh, no, nothing. This was just some My Cousin Vinny shit. This was truly some My Cousin Vinny shit. Like,
is that Mafia? I don't know.
No, well, that movie, My Cousin Vinny, with Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei, it's from the early 90s, where Ralph Macchio and someone else, I forget the other actor's name, they're driving like to visit colleges in the West, and they wanted to take the South out there, and they get mistaken for someone suspected of murder in Alabama. And Joe Pesci is a lawyer, and he's the guy's cousin, so he goes down to try getting him out. But
are you saying this was a mistaken identity?
No, it was just bullshit. So they charged me with a F1 for possession of marijuana, of which there wasn't any, because that summer I sold my brother the last of my bud before he went to Lost Lands that year. So I didn't have any of that. And in the trunk of my car were little M125 firecrackers that I bought in Missouri on the way home from Colorado that previous spring. And they said I had some explosive device, and that was another felony. So I spent 20 days in jail, tripping on like 5-10 strips and detoxing from 4 years of benzos.
Jeez.
Wow. Christ. I've heard, I don't know if you follow Jordan Peterson's story.
Yes.
His father, and he had to come off benzos and went to Russia to do it. And
no,
this is everyone here, and trying North America, it didn't work. So,
there's no graceful way to come off of benzos as far as medicine goes. And I've seen people have seizures kicking these things, like
Shit.
I'm sure I must have had a few, but like I couldn't believe how easy a time I had. And like gabapentin's another one, the one for nerve pain. I was on the maximum dose for 3 years. And that was also probably part of me getting sick, but that was something I started on after the Alabama experience because I went to rehab after that and they put me on that there. And I was willing to because, why not? Junkie's gonna junkie.
Right.
Well, maybe it was a blessing that you went to jail.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, maybe. I mean, it certainly built character. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay, actually, where do you live right now?
I'm in Neptune, New Jersey at the moment. Okay. I am either between my mother's house or my girlfriend's, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. So what do you do for work?
Oh, whatever I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has your health affected your ability to work now that you're on a more decent standing? Can you work?
Well, the thing is with work is I haven't tried to push myself that hard yet. But if I get back into it and I fuck up, then I lose the disability because I went back to work. And then, so it puts me kind of between a rock and a hard place. But I have found ways to supplement the income. So I am doing all right for the time being.
Why are you scared of fucking up?
Because I just, all right, so certain things will aggravate me. Like, blue light, for example, like if I go to a grocery store where I'm under blue light, like I'll be substantially stressed out like for a few minutes like after it, just from being under the shitty lights. Not like substantially, but I mean if I'm under that shit for any periods of time, it just drives me nuts.
So that's like hindering your ability to work? Like
No, it's not that. It's just like physically, like, getting hurt. If the people that provided disability, they find out, well, why are you working? You're on disability.
Yeah, like you can do part-time, but the thing is, I'm just after this thing in October I'm doing in Florida, that's when I'm gonna set the whole health coaching thing into full motion. I'm still like trying to set that up for myself and get all the things and business cards and all that type of stuff. But
so that's where your path has led you to now.
You're gonna be a health coach. Exactly. That's what I'm gonna end up doing, because like that won't involve
being under shitty lights.
Yeah, it won't involve circumstances that I can't control, like the setting, or kind of do things my own way. Which
there's plenty of those. Yeah, plenty of those options now where you can just sit at a computer with your glasses on.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of good that we're doing this by me holding the phone, because like even when I sit in front of the computer for a while, like I feel like even with these glasses, I feel like it scrambles my brain. I feel like I can't think quite straight. This is probably the most lucid I have been in one of these interviews in a very long time.
That's how we do things around here at Endless Ranters.
Yeah, we take a little credit for that.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, actually, I have a follow-up question. Like, what you gradually built yourself up to, like, gotten yourself to this point. Like, what is the most like you physically taxing activity you can accomplish without?
All right, so I haven't truly tried to like push myself to the limit, but I mean, like, I can physically run sprints. I lift things. I do pull-ups. I do push-ups. Yeah, like I can be out in the sun all day. Like last summer, I couldn't take sunlight for more than like 10 minutes because of the chemo. Now I can be in the sun pretty much all day and feel great the whole time. It's really changed the human experience for me. Like I was pretty much for most of my life in a constant state of everything hurts and I'm dying, and now it's quite the contrary. I mean, I feel quite well, like pretty much all the time, unless I do some stupid shit I shouldn't have, like take a couple shots of tequila.
Right.
Like, all right, so I won't like mess myself up with junk food if I'm hanging out with other people, but like if I do fall into some stupid shit that I shouldn't have done, it's gonna be something like a drink or something. But like I can count on one hand how many times there's been.
Yeah, and your cheats, quote unquote, kind of stick within. They're kind of contained. You're not going to drink like 10 beers, but you might do some shots of a.
No, if I drink, it's well, if I were to drink again, which I'm not going to for quite some time after this last one, but if I were going to, it would probably just be like a shot of Tito's when I got somewhere, and that would be it for the night.
Right. My cheats are things like berries and nut butters, but nut butters without any seed oils.
Oh, you
So
know
I always
what?
keep it within, keto. It still stays keto, but to me, it's a cheat.
But either way, that I tell people about cheats that they're not all cheats are created equal. Like some will do you a lot worse than other ones.
Right.
Like some might cause your mood to tank for like days. Some of them may suck all of the energy out of you, but I mean, like when I cheated like 3 on myself, because like a lot of people would consider Texas style smoked brisket to be perfectly kosher because salt and pepper, but I don't do peppers. So that was my big cheat. Smoked brisket with pepper rather than just raw brisket with a minuscule amount of salt. I barely use salt anymore too. I'm like phasing salt out. Yeah, I'm phasing salt out slowly.
Wow, that's big because that's a big, they always say meat, salt, water. I do the Himalayan salt. Why do you, I thought salt was a necessity for this.
So when I first started doing this, it certainly was for me. Like I used to consume a ton of salt. Like a lot of it. I mean, at first I was using the pink Himalayan. I got into Redmond salt after maybe 2 months. But I used to like just pour some out into my hand and lick it up like multiple times a day. I was one of them. Like it would be the first thing I did when I wake up. But like at this point, I kind of feel better when I don't have any. Like I got a headache yesterday and I licked some and it kind of subsided. But I think that was just a long hangover from whenever that was. But I mean,
what about water? Do you drink water with electrolytes, or what are your drinks?
This guy hunts down specific water. It's crazy.
So this is what I have a bottle of right now. Aquapana.
Aquapana.
I drink that in glass.
What is special about it?
I'm also a fan of Gerolsteiner.
Okay, what is?
Well, this one is supposed to be from Italy, and it's supposed to have a slightly higher pH naturally and contain minerals and all that stuff. Gerolsteiner, though, I like better. It just costs more, and they don't stock a ton of it at the store, so it's kind of a pain. But like on Gerolsteiner, it says like per serving, like 130 milligrams of calcium, 40 milligrams of magnesium. And like the thing with Gerolsteiner is they do nothing to it. So all the bacteria in Gerolsteiner is still live. and you want that.
Does it taste good?
Well, it's what is it? It's sparkling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I never ever liked sparkling water
I love
for
it.
as long as I lived. But after,
It's helped me quit soda.
That's good though. Soda's so bad, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, after all the just raw meat for such a long time, it was a nice way to mix things up a little bit. But for other drinks, it's pretty much just water. I did take a shot of apple cider vinegar while we were on this call. I do that sometimes. I do that occasionally. Like if I feel
your system.
Well, no, if I feel any like type of reflux whatsoever, I'll take a sip of apple cider vinegar. Like today, I ate some slow roasted chicken from the other day, and it caused a little bit of reflux. Like I want to try my next chicken raw though, because that would be pretty extreme.
Well, that's gonna be one of my questions. Is I thought I read on your page that you were gonna be doing that, or you were supposed to do that a few days ago. Did that come to?
No, well, I want to space it out. I need more red meat for a while. Like I definitely do better with red meat, but when the time comes, I'll definitely mix it up and eat that raw chicken. I've heard a lot of really good things about raw chicken, so I'm
Health-wise? Or
yeah. Well, I know both.
That chicken was kind of JV in terms of nutrients, but you're probably getting a good quality.
Yeah, well, the thing
you talked about in the beginning.
Yeah, I wanted to eat the chicken the other day because I wanted thiamine, and that's supposed to be in chicken skins. I think. I could be wrong about that, but I know that chicken is supposed to be higher in thiamine than yeah, I forget what meats, but I think it's higher in thiamine.
Yeah, you know a lot more than I do. I have no response to this.
Well, it actually leads me to another question, maybe a segue. You've had to do a lot of research on your own. Sometimes you bewilder your doctors. A lot of what people have been taught is been shrouded in misinformation. Like, how much of an uphill battle have you been facing, like amongst people that also come from the carnivore space, about like as far as supplementing with other like vitamins and all that sort of that stuff? Like, how much of a fight do you have to put up with when it comes to that?
Well, in the carnivore space, nobody really makes that claim because there's assholes like me that say eat organ meats, drink bone broth, eat eggs, and fish roe if you can get it, oysters, like stuff like that. But yeah, vitamins and supplements are trash. But in my life personally, like people that I've seen, nobody questions my judgment with this because they all saw how fucked up I was. Like they saw me keeled over in pain, just like doing ketamine a bunch because I was just hurting that badly and dissociating from a completely broken body. You know, it's one of the only ways to alleviate that suffering.
Right.
Wow.
And I mean, that went on for a while. So then when I started getting healthy again, people were like, and the cool one is when I see people that I haven't seen for like a couple of years and they're just like, yo, you look fucking great. And it's just weird for somebody like me who was just such a disaster for most of my life.
Right.
To people be giving me compliments like that and like seeking me out for advice about food and all this other type of stuff. And like, it's really strange, but it's a cool contrast and I do welcome it.
Okay. Does it ever frustrate you, like receiving pushback or having to fight misinformation?
Dude, well, the thing is, nothing really frustrates me anymore. Like, nothing gets on my nerves. Nothing pisses me off. Like, if I'm on the road and somebody does some really dumb shit, I'll just be like, you fucking motherfucker. But I won't, like, lose my temper about it or anything. Like, I remember being a kid, like 17 years. Dude, even last year, I brought this up to my girlfriend, like, last week. I was like, yo, do you remember how badly I used to be bugging out every time we would go to Shake Shack? Like we had just ordered on the app, and I'd be like, we got it. Like, dude, I'd be driving like, I don't know. I was definitely speeding though, and probably burning red lights to get to Shake Shack, like a sick junkie that needs his fix. Like it wasn't, dude. It wasn't too far off from that. And when you finally like get so far away from that sick place that you spent most of your life in, just nothing really gets to you anymore. It's like crazy how it just completely alters every fiber of the human experience.
The diet really affects the human experience, the human condition then, right?
Yeah, dude. I really think being high is our natural state, like all the time. It's just
But wait, I saw you making a post the other day that was sort of throwing shade at weed. So I don't like high from like actual,
Dude, I still smoke some weed. Like,
okay.
I'm not a defector in that sense. This is why I called my YouTube channel Rehab Disaster, because like I still enjoy shit like that.
Okay. Well, another question that I also had that I was kind of throwing at Jane's way a few weeks ago is like, how much of a trend, if someone without any like ridiculous, or not ridiculous, but like grave health issues is faced, like how much of a transition period do you think someone has to take from going from the crappy all-American diet to just raw meat? Like, does that have to be a slow phasing
all right,
out?
so raw meat, I don't tell people to just get into raw meat because that puts a lot of people off. But with the organs, I do suggest to people like cut them up really, really tiny and just spoonfuls. And if you can get raw milk, that's the best thing to wash them down with. It hides the taste the best.
Okay.
But like, it's just raw stuff actually heals you in ways that denatured cooked meats can't really. Like I wouldn't have had the tremendous results I've had with this if I didn't get weird about like these glasses. If I did like the raw liver right away, and then raw kidney a few weeks later, I was eating heart by the end of that month too, bone marrow. Like all of that crazy shit, I think was really what restored me. I think you can get well on the grain-fed stuff, even though it's not, it's not the 100% grass-fed stuff that's going to be way less toxic. Because, I mean, if you're eating stuff that was sprayed with glyphosate and atrazine, that's, like, really bad.
Yeah.
That's going to affect, like, even though...
It tastes funky.
Yeah, it does. Like there's something off about it.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned I had like slight reflux a second ago and a little bit. Like I did the other night at my girlfriend's eat some grain-fed beef burger that her mom made just because I felt like shit from the tequila and I was being lazy, so I ate it. And like I had a slight headache before. Like it's not really bad at the moment, but I haven't had a headache or any type of itch or, spasm, cramp, any racing thoughts, any paranoia, any just like, it's like insane how all these compulsions just evaporate. And all these seemingly deep-seated pathologies within us that pretty much dictated so much of your life up until some point just seemed to vanish. But I mean, like, I don't know how much I can do still because, like, my back does cause some pain. Well, no, you know what it is? Some days it just doesn't feel as strong.
Okay.
You work
Because of
out?
the-
That was one of my other questions.
Yeah, I do, but not like crazy. Like,
But what
What's
kind
your
of
workout?
working out?
all right, see this? Like, this is a dumbbell. Like, I'll usually curl these and I'll do like shoulder things with those.
Are you sure your form's good?
I think so.
I mean, that can cause like back issues. Do you do abs? Do you work out your core?
Yeah, but when I do the core, what I'll do is I'll hang from the pull-up bar, pull myself up, and then do a bunch of like hanging leg kicks because I don't like doing sit-ups.
Okay.
Well, oh man, I gotta show you my bar method ab stuff because it's really therapeutic. It's good for your back. It's not crunches.
Oh wait,
I really could
Breathing
use
is
being
how you're-
schooled.
What?
I really could use being schooled on this stuff, but it's just like so many of the people in my life are just like, especially around my age, are just not really up for this kind of thing because like so many of them are just still sick and miserable.
have you tried yoga?
I did yoga for so following the jail time in Alabama, subsequent rehab. I was in an outpatient for like 10 months while the Alabama case was hanging over my head because I wanted it to look good for that. I don't know how they didn't fucking kick me out because I was like smoking weed the entire time. But and like doing a bunch of K too. Like I don't know how they didn't do it.
Hey.
Ketamine.
Oh.
Yeah, but no, I was being like a total jerk off, and they ended up like graduating me after like 10 months because I just like kept showing up because I had the court thing hanging over my head. But they eventually dismissed that case after 14 months.
Jesus.
Yeah, like I was out on bond for like 14 months before that shit finally went to trial.
And part
Right.
of being out on bond for that was going to hot yoga classes or what?
Oh no, so at the outpatient I was going to, there was a yoga class once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a while. That was like the only organized form of it. Like stretching and breathing's good for you, no matter like, you know.
Yeah.
You need to find a hot yoga instructor to motivate
Well,
you.
that was the thing. I did have a hot yoga instructor at that outpatient.
Maybe it was distracting for you then.
Or bar method. I would say
No, not really. I would just hit on her a lot.
Oh,
This
okay.
was before my girlfriend and I were together, so I was just like a total asshole at the time.
Right.
I would say Google bar method ab exercises and see what's on there because that works your low, deep abdominals, which help your back. You
The
get
thing
those
with
strong.
The
Mhm.
thing with what did you say it was called?
Bar method, BAR method.
All right. Just
I
wanted
used
to
to
write it.
teach it. I taught it when I was living in Chicago, and I've been taking classes for like 7-8 years. So
That's
and
great.
yeah, it's so therapeutic. There's no what do you call it? Impacts. There's no jumping up and down. You're just like in socks on a carpet, and you know it's full body. There's arms, thighs, seat work, and then abs at the end. And that's I don't know. I would say for you, if you have back problems, that's what to focus on.
Yeah, like the back problem doesn't nag me like it used to, but like at some times I will feel like an occasional moment of like, damn, like I'll notice it again, but it
Okay.
like I can actually stand up tall like without, you know, being like I used to always be like slouched over because I was just hurting all the time. Like when you have three vertebrae with no spinal column, like I mean no spinal cord, that's my situation with the back.
Jeez.
Wow.
That sounds gnarly as fuck.
And that's all from the MS.
Yeah, like the lesions on the spine and the brain were the MS. As far as I know, like if it wasn't MS with me, the other thing they suspected was some type of encephalopathy, which would be really malignant.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brain thing, right?
Yeah, where like your brain just gets eaten.
Ah.
That's awful.
Or yeah, like it, so all things can like look, I'm not 100%. I'm not who I was when I was young in terms of athleticism, like playing hockey and snowboarding and all that stuff. But like, I have quality of life now. And for a very long time with me, there was zero quality of life because I was just like, I would go to bed praying for death and I would wake up cursing the fact that I did wake up because that was just how bad it used to be. Like it was really dark for a really long time.
Yeah, wow. Well, I'm glad you were able to dig your way out and you were motivated to as well.
Raw meat.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Jane, to cut you off.
Go,
But
Manny.
one last question, or on my behalf, one last question. When you started sourcing out raw meat and hitting up butchers, were they surprised by the amount of questions? Like, how many questions were you asking them about like the livestock that you're potentially going to purchase from them?
Well, at Skillman, I asked them questions when I got there, which is my butcher here in Jersey, but it's, you know, it's an hour each way from home. But I was asking them a bunch about, you know, what goes on with the cows. And I mean, they do the rotational paddocks on all grass all their lives. 3 farms, one's in upstate New York, one in Virginia, one in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the cows right. But when I got there and I asked them about their pork and their chicken, they said they both get fed soy. So I was just like, damn, I can't even eat this stuff. But and the Amish are always cool about talking to the willing consumers of their really high quality stuff.
I wish
Ooh,
we had Amish out here.
Amish are great. They make I remember stopping at like a quilt shop.
They're awesome.
What's that?
Like when I go out to the dairy store for my raw milk and duck eggs, and I get cheese out there too. They got raw A2 cheese. And when I do go out there, you'll always see all these these street legal horse-drawn carriages on the street.
Yeah, I went to college in Pennsylvania, so they were
Where at?
Bucknell.
Oh, I've heard of Bucknell. No idea where it is, but I've definitely heard the name.
It's smack dab in the middle. It's like an hour north of Harrisburg, so it's 3 hours from Pittsburgh, Philly, DC, New York.
Is it by like Williamsport?
Yeah.
I'm actually visiting Harrisburg next week with my girlfriend. Her best friend from the rehab we met in South Florida 10 years ago.
Wait, so you did another stint in rehab?
Oh, I've done I think 6 or 7.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
So wait, what's your so pot, ketamine, what else?
Oh no, I used to like shoot heroin and smoke crack. I was like one of them.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So you kind of downgraded, but you're not totally sober.
No, like I'll still smoke weed sometimes, but that's
and have a few shots.
No. Like last week was like the first time in a very long time I drank anything, and it was ill-advised, and it won't be happening again anytime in the foreseeable future.
Getting MS, going to jail, and eating raw meat has been more effective for you than rehab.
Yes, and psychiatry and Western medicine in general. And, you know, like, for anyone that's going through anything as far as like mental illness, addictions, like just any type of messed up compulsive behavior, that modern medicine would just drug. Like this could probably alleviate to some degree.
I have a final question for you. Hypothetical. Let's say you weren't going to feel any side effects whatsoever. What would your cheat meal be?
Oh, it wouldn't be anything crazy. It would probably be a double Shack burger from Shake Shack with just meat, cheese, and the Shack sauce, a side of cheese fries, and probably not the ice cream. My girlfriend would probably get the ice cream, and I would probably take a sip, the milkshakes. But yeah, probably a double Shack burger from Shake Shack with only the meat, cheese, Shack sauce, and a side of cheese fries. That was the last meal before I committed to carnivore. September 29th, 2020. That was it. That was the absolute last one.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, man.
Well, this is fascinating to me, and I love hearing your story about this. I really admire people that have had to conquer themselves and like find their way, like figure everything out on their own. And I just don't have the health issues that have, made that necessary. But I've made shifts in my diet and my lifestyle over the years.
That's great though.
It made a huge difference. So like first, sugar was the first thing. I was like, no more added sugar. I'm done. I don't want the candy craving in every afternoon. And that was, if I'm, giving advice to anyone out there, that's the first thing to do.
Quitting sugar's huge.
No one disagrees about this either.
No.
Vegans are on board with that.
That are the refined grains too. Those are awful.
Yeah.
Like I tell people this, and it's rare that people have heard this, that back in the day, like 1930s, like schizophrenia was called bread madness.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Bread madness.
They knew, so they had some idea. What is this, like all the farmer lobbies? Just like,
yeah, it's big corn getting in the way.
Yeah.
Dude, the American Heart Association since the 50s has been bought and paid for by seed oil manufacturers. The ones pushing that these polyunsaturated high omega-6 vegetable oils are somehow healthier for people than saturated animal fats, which are stable and solid at room temperature, unlike these oils.
Yeah, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but when it comes to this stuff, I don't think it's like a bunch of old white men sitting in a room conspire. I think it just kind of happens organically. Like things like certain bureaucracies grow, and then they grow money, and that throws the truth out of whack.
I think it's a combination of just a bunch of businesses that are just trying to make shitty food products they can sell to consumers for next to nothing. And it's just that greed that is getting them to toe this line that, yeah, like healthy at any weight, you can eat this stuff and blah, 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 like without consequence. Like, no, that the chickens will always come home to roost. Like, I was a gut and psychology syndrome person all my life because I was fed junk food from from the cradle to a very nearly early grave. And when I got out onto my own, I was just eating like absolute shit like the whole time. And it only made one problem after the next appear year after year. Like no matter how good I was doing, like at work or with anything else, like making money and all that stuff, like I was always going crazy and I was just never right in myself. And it was always the junk food and just being blue light toxic too, which is why I've gone nuts with the glasses and all that stuff, but it was really bad for a long time.
Wow. Well, I hope you get this health consultant thing going, because I think you could help a lot of people. And I think I just want to see the truth get out there about these things. I don't think people need to take it as extreme as you. I think you have it's more necessary, but still the knowledge that comes from it can be
beneficial,
I think, to anyone.
Yeah, and
so that's
coming from just with how sick I was and how well I've gotten myself, like nobody's beyond reproach. That's why I'm vocal about this. This is why I talk to people. This is why I do podcasts or anything whenever I'm beckoned to do so, because I suffered so unnecessarily through so much of life, and if I can alleviate that for even just one other person, that's doing something positive in a karmic sense to offset all the stupid shit I did over my life when I was metabolically unhealthy, probably insulin resistant, and all manner of drug damaged from pharmaceuticals, antibiotics, and everything else that's ever.
And maybe the heroin.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing was,
let's not throw that out here.
Yeah, no, that was certainly not a good thing, but I was only doing it because I was trying to blunt how fucking crazy I felt all the time. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, because I had been so crazy for a couple of years.
So do you not crave, you don't crave heroin?
No opiates, no, like I never thought you could get off those things and just like not want them anymore, because in AA, NA, they talk about how you're gonna have to be dealing with this demon for the rest of your life, when it's really not like that. Like, if you can get your gut right and if you can correct your metabolic syndrome.
Yeah, I think that's such a good message, or that should be part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
In rehab, kind of get to the root of the problem.
Yeah, and the thing is, in rehabs, you eat junk food and you eat a lot of carbs, and in some of them, you'll be eating.
Replacing the drugs.
Yeah, with drug-like junk foods, and and coffee, and that.
Hey,
cigarettes.
Stop at the coffee.
And psych drugs too. Psychiatric drugs are huge in the so-called recovery space. Like, so many of those people are on them. And this is like the first time in my life I've been off of all that shit. And I also never get hungry. My mood's always like in a positive place. And I never could have, especially for how bad I was. That's why I tell the story. Sorry to be repetitive with that, but
no, it's fine. Keep driving the point home.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, just the ball's really in your court if you get sick. Like, no matter what it is, the power is yours to do something with it.
Well, that sounds like a great note to go out on.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, and good luck. And if you if you're getting off the ground, we'll throw a shout out to you and your business. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'll keep Manny in.
Monkey's uncle here is one of our usual participants on YouTube. He's like, you could be great on Dr. Drew, and I think you guys would have a good conversation about maybe where you probably have some different views on the rehab. That would be interesting to hash out.
Well, I mean, I feel like I could definitely contribute a lot to a conversation on how to get junkies well, but because that was something I needed to do for myself. Like in 2017, when I decided, all right, no more hard drugs ever again, because like my best friend killed himself like a few months before that with the shit. So that was when I like started listening to Jordan Peterson a lot and really trying to work out all the nonsense that drove me nuts all my life. And for a while I did it but I didn't take care of the gut thing. So everything ended up collapsing.
Right.
Like if your gut's a mess, your mind's a mess, and your soul's a mess. And when you get over that, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah. Adam Carolla had a doctor on. That was a big gut expert. I don't remember his name. Manny.
He was on a few months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to look him up, but he really championed the whole gut knowledge and kind of working from there to heal yourself too. So yeah, it looks like you're kind of a real life case.
Yeah, I'm an example of what can happen when you get it right. And like what I did at the beginning was very similar to the GAPS diet because of all the bone broth I was having that first.
What does that stand for?
Either gut and psychology syndrome or gut and physiology syndrome. I think those are the two that are interchangeable. It's Natasha Campbell McBride's the OG with that one. I heard her. I liked her appearance on Michaela Peterson. She really laid out the whole GAPS thing really nicely.
Okay,
but
I'll look that up.
The whole point's healing the gut.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much. This was super fun.
Yes. It was also,
I love these stories.
It was also nice to put a voice to the face after all these years too.
Likewise, brother.
You guys have never met. You guys are just
I've yet to meet in person. Hopefully hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully when the dust settles with all this COVID nonsense. But actually one of the people I can't, but I know someone with a connection to a venue somewhere where I might see you. So
oh yeah, DM me then and we'll catch up.
Yeah, dude.
For sure. All right. Well, this has been Endless Ranters. George joining me and Jane. We'll catch y'all next time.
Get it on.
Get it on.
Get it on.
All right. Cool. Thanks. We're off recording. We're still live on YouTube, so they can.
It's
yeah.
That was a great time though.
Hour and a half too.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of
flew by.
Yeah.
I feel like this was the.
I gotta go find I gotta make a ramen smoothie.
If for some reason either of you ever find yourself in New Jersey, hit me up and I will make that for you.
Okay.
All right.
I don't get out that way as much anymore. What
Dude,
part are you near New York?
Are you familiar with Asbury Park?
No.
Yes.
Asbury.
I am in the town that borders Asbury Park. It's in Monmouth County. It's like you can walk to the beach from where I live, but it's on the northern part of the shore. It's Monmouth County, which is like the northernmost shore county. Like there's Monmouth Ocean, then Atlantic, then Cape May.
Okay.
And I'm in the southern part of Monmouth.
Yeah. I used to live in DC, so I would go. I have a relative all up the Northeast corridor. So I would drive and just visit everyone along the way. So I know New York pretty well. Boston, I don't know. I like the East Coast. I miss it.
Yeah, it's all right here, but I don't know. Some people out here are just for example, I went to the Midwest 2 months ago with my girlfriend because she grew up out there. And just like the vibe of people out there, it's like people are just so much more pleasant when you get away from the Northeast.
I could go on forever because I lived in Chicago too, so I know the Midwest. It's nice when you're visiting. Like it's a palate cleanser from the East Coast, the New York harshness.
Yeah.
But after a while, you're like, I can't get deep with these people. Like, it's like very surface goal. They don't want to talk about anything more than the weather and sports.
Jane's traumatized by the Midwest.
I am traumatized. I was made to feel like an alien. Like,
oh, fuck.
They don't. If you're not following the same check boxes of life as the people around you, then they're like, they don't know what to do with you. It's like foreign, and you're like a foreign entity, and they're just like scared. They're like, you're gonna mess up our system. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, like some outside wrench in the gears of what they know.
Yes.
He's gonna throw off the whole balance of everything.
And I lived in Chicago, like downtown Chicago, and I still felt that. So I can't even imagine what it would have been like, on the burbs.
Damn. I mean,
it seems nice. I get it. You visit, you're like, oh, this is so gentle.
Yeah, no, like I wouldn't move out there, but I mean, it was a nice change of scene. Like the air smelled so much better out there. Like we stayed in Lombard, and the air just smelled so much better out there than it does here. If you can imagine being in Jersey.
I don't want to.
They don't call it the armpit for nothing.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like when, all right, so when I quit smoking, like, which happened pretty soon after the carnivore thing, and like I'm about to detox myself again tomorrow from tobacco completely, but like, dude, the reason I picked it back up was because I just couldn't fucking stand the smell out here. Like it was so bad.
Cigarettes were better than the smell of New Jersey.
Yes, like I wanted to dull my sense of smell so I didn't have to smell, because when you like a thing with the carnivore thing is people report their sense of smell getting like so sharp, and that happened to me. But like every time I stepped outside, I would just be like, it fucking reeks out here.
Yeah.
Like how did I never realize this? How did I never put this together?
Well, you need to go to the nicer part of New Jersey. Not all New Jersey is bad. Aren't there like hilly, greenish?
Yeah, I mean, like where my girlfriend lives, it's like nice and greenish. Like we were living together for a while. I was up there with her, but like, so maybe 5 or 6 months into my MS experience, I was ready to die, so I tried to, and she kicked me out after that. But like, we're still cool. I was up there yesterday. Like everything's still fine, but like it
scared the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and she.
Yeah, you're like, this guy is stable.
Yeah, like the thing was, I wasn't though, because after the MS, they started giving me Abilify shots. And when I did carry this gesture out, I had been on Abilify for 3 months. So, and that is one of the side effects.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, I remember years ago, I switched birth control, and I just started feeling borderline suicidal thoughts. And I was like, what? Anything
that messes with your hormones can.
I know. I don't do any birth control now. I haven't for years. But I had like the wherewithal to go, Jane, there's nothing wrong in your life that warrants these feelings. So I just stopped. I was like, it's got to be that, and I just stopped. But not everyone has that kind of that intuition, or they can't.
That self-awareness to catch that. Yeah, a lot of people are just so distracted by so much static in life that they can't sort out something like that, like some type of dissonance that's being caused by some exogenous substance that you're introducing to your system. Like I never realized just how sensitive we truly are until you know, until you like really cut that stuff out for like 3 months, and it's just like something shifts, like everything changes. But yeah, hopefully this time. Well, no, I have to this time. I have to not pick the nicotine back up. So yeah, hopefully I can spend more time up in Middletown where the grass is literally greener and it doesn't smell like low tide.
Nature, I think, is just seeing nature. And that was a big reason why I moved out here and getting out of Chicago. It was like, ugh, you know, I get the benefits of being in a big city, but then there's so nature and hiking. And I think that, you know, along with getting out in the sun.
Yeah, sunlight's huge.
Yeah. Now you're kind of motivating me to like really get out for a hike earlier in the morning.
Well, I could well, if you have somewhere where you can walk on grass early in the morning, like that's like you want to be grounded for the like that is an important one.
Why the grounding?
I forget the science behind this, but I've heard Jack Kruse talk about it. I can send you the lecture. It's if you search Dr. Jack Kruse, Kruse, Nourish Vermont 2017. I was introduced to him maybe after a few weeks of carnivore when I asked someone in the Healing MS Naturally group about how to up my vitamin D without taking supplements, because I recognized those supplements were hurting me more than they were helping. And I was referred to Jack Kruse, and that kind of opened up another Pandora's box of ways in which I could improve myself and my health. Like I used to burn so easily in the sun, and that like never happens anymore.
Oh shit.
And yeah, like I used to burn to the point where my skin would blister and like singe off. But you know that shouldn't be the case, because my mother is Syrian and Sicilian and my father was Croatian. So like, you know, warm sunny place people.
Yeah.
And here I am just like burning in sunlight.
And you don't do sunscreen?
No, never. Like, and when I wash, I use beef fat and coconut oil. Like I did.
You don't use soap, so you don't use traditional soap.
Well, I did recently get a couple bars of Dr. Squatch because
okay, I've been wanting to try those. What do you think about that stuff?
I think they're pretty good, but like the thing with them, if you're gonna use those, you gotta like lather yourself up with it and then like put the soap outside the shower on like a plate where it's not gonna get water on it, because they will melt so fast.
Okay.
Yeah. I use
like
egg yolk to
egg yolk.
Wash my hair. Yeah, that's my shampoo is egg yolk.
I must have seen you comment that on the internet, because I've definitely seen somebody mentioning washing their hair with egg yolk. I'll try that tomorrow, though. That sounds pretty good.
I swear by it, but I still use other products, you know, to help like hairspray, volume, stuff like that. But for cleaning it, yeah, I just use egg yolk. I meant to ask you about eggs. Do you eat the whole egg or do you only do yolks?
I only do yolks.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, even with those really nice eggs that I get out in Lancaster County, PA, like the yolks the yolks still make me sleepy. Like, it's just.
You mean the white?
I mean, yeah, the whites, the egg whites. Like the yolks, I do fine with, but.
Well, the nutrients are in the yolk. People like it drives me nuts that you get egg white omelets. I'm like, what are people doing?
Even when I was a kid and that fad was just becoming a thing, something registered with me. I was like, that seems just like retarded. Like, what are you doing?
So I work for a company called a market research company that basically we do data we like our data aggregators and analyzers for consumer packaged goods. So I basically work to help all these companies like Kellogg and Hershey, like Pepsi, like help them sell their products. So I feel like kind of a hypocrite here. This is like
it's whatever. I was watching the movie Thank You for Smoking the other day, and they say, when asked, why do you do this? To pay the mortgage.
Right.
Like that was the line everyone was using with and without irony.
Yeah. It's funny how nowadays I look at growing up, it was always like smoking is so gross. We had to shame smoking. And now I'm kind of like, dude, I'm looking at dudes, I'd like rather a dude smoke than drink a Coke. Like that's where I'm at.
No, but seriously, I will say this like objectively and unequivocally. I don't think tobacco is like, especially if you're smoking something additive free like American Spirit. I really don't think tobacco is as bad as coffee.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, really.
What is wrong with coffee? Because I have coffee every day.
Well, there's going to be theobromine in it, or theobromide, I forget which, but one of those. Acrylamide is another like class whatever carcinogen that's present in it. I think in California it actually used to have a Prop 65 warning for containing acrylamide.
There's warnings everywhere in California.
And then like the thing, if you're getting it from like a store like here, I used to get the Wawa coffee all the time. But, they're going to be brewing that with chlorinated tap water and that. But there's Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I think you can fix the water part.
I mean, you can, yeah, but just my anecdote of when I did try having it that I mentioned to you guys before. When I tried having it after that bacon experiment, like the next day, my formerly bad knee just collapsed under my weight.
From the coffee.
Like it's just it'll stress your adrenals and your endocrine system, and it's just.
I don't know.
I used to be.
There are people that think that that's bullshit too. That like, your adrenal system and endocrine, whatever, it can handle it. It was meant to handle the consumption of coffee. So I don't know. I'm not doubting you. It's just like always. There's always a differing in opinion and all that shit.
Yeah, I just have my anecdote to go with, but I mean, I drank coffee, and of course, like everything else in my life, I did it to excess. So when I did drink coffee for all those years, I mean, it was from like 2009 to 2020. I drank coffee like, those mugs that say a giant cup of shut the fuck up? You ever see one of those? The size of those fucking things? I used to fill that thing with all right, so here's how I would make coffee, by the way. I would put 4 times the amount of grounds in the filters to make it extra, extra strong. And then I would brew the coffee on the strong brew setting, of course. And I would fill the giant cup of shut the fuck up and drink that in the morning to wake up for work. That was the type of coffee consumer I was.
It's raw liver.
Yeah, well, all right. So when today I woke up, it was raw oysters, salmon roe, and I didn't actually eat the organ smoothie today. I just had like 5 duck egg yolks after the oysters and fish roe. Then I ate some chicken and chicken broth. Then I had a bowl of beef bone broth with the added beef fat to the bowl.
Yeah.
Then I had a sirloin steak with raw butter and another glass of raw milk. And like the raw butter has become an absolute staple. I love that stuff.
Wait, how much time do you go in between meals?
Well, today I was eating like today I did an experiment to try eating like every other hour. But what I'll usually do is like one big meal around like 10, 11 in the morning, and then a second one around like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But
So
I only eat during daylight. Like that's another one of those things.
Okay, so you kind of intermittent fast.
So no,
You
what?
intermittent fast in the winter, but not the summer.
Yeah, I don't do it like intentionally. I just like I also was recently reading Epipaleo RX by Jack Kruse. And I'm actually shocked how big of an advocate for keto he is. Like I thought food didn't mean shit to that guy, but he's like a huge advocate for keto apparently.
Oh.
But he was saying that it's always best to eat in the daylight and that it's even better to eat something with like even if it's something small, just like egg yolks or something like that, just eat something within the first half hour of being awake. So I've been testing that out for the last couple days, and
Okay.
I don't know yet. Like, because this morning I didn't try it with the organ smoothie, which is usually how I do it. Which usually,
I've heard different things than that. Like I hear about intermittent fasting, like wait till noon.
Same.
You don't need to eat. Like you don't really need to eat first thing in the morning.
Yeah, no, I'm just experimenting with all this because, like myself, being the former drunk and junkie that I was always my favorite test subject. So I experiment with this stuff all the time still, and like eating times, like how long I can space it out and still like digest everything properly and feel right doing it.
So no extended fasting like Michaela Peterson does. Have you seen her? I think she did like 10 or 12 days a while back.
I haven't tried that yet. Like if I do fast, I'll do like a 24-hour one sometimes. But like I haven't done anything extended yet. Only because like when I was in jail in Alabama, I fucking starved. And when you're like truly starving, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's a really, really just, it's not a place you want to revisit really. So, I mean, I like to eat, but I feel like sometimes I just need a break. So I do like 24 hours here and there, but I haven't tried anything extended. I kind of want to get into it, but because I hear a lot of great things from some people that I really do respect.
But when you were in jail, you hadn't been eating the way you are now. And I think it's
different. No, hell.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I do a detox, like my detox after if I've had a weekend with friends and eating bullshit, I'm like, I'm just going to fast for 24 hours. And I find that helps like really reset.
Calibrate you.
Yeah. And then I can just go back and.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if I cheated like hard that or in any type of way, I would probably do it a lot more if I was doing stuff like that. But I don't know, it's seldom these days.
Yeah. All right. Well, I need to get back to, I need to do some work and make a steak here.
Yeah. I gotta
am
finish some
hungry.
laundry up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
We can have you back on in a few months once you get your operation running. We'll talk some more about what you want to do with that too, if that's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, that would be Manny. That would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be amazing. Like, and I've gotten the blessing from like a few people that I really respect in the carnivore space. Like Emily Penton, if you've heard of her, she like personally was telling me like you really, really should get into the coaching thing. And she does that. Yeah, and she does that and makes a living with it. Like Emily actually got into the raw milk after I suggested it.
What are you on Instagram?
George to the world, like George number 2 the world.
All right.
That's funny.
And I also told her about the whole grounding sunrise thing, and she told me she was doing that and it made a big difference. I was like, hell yes. Like when people give me that type of feedback, it's so damn gratifying, especially from like a rock star like her in the carnivore space, because you know she was mentally ill and she ended up getting MS and like she's kicking ass now.
I don't see. Are you like private on Instagram?
I shouldn't be. George number 2, like George number 2 the world. Oh shit.
What?
I just minimized the video.
World,
and
no spaces, no.
George to the world.
Oh, to the world.
Yes. Like George to the world.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
The picture is me squatting in a tracksuit.
Oh, the raw. Oh my gosh, the raw ground beef with the 2 egg yolks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tartare. Yeah.
Oh,
that was so good. That was actually one of the last couple of pounds of beef I had from the half steer. It's finally gone, and it's so bittersweet.
What kind of, like, do you get what, 80-20, 85-15? Like the fat to protein?
80-20 is what my butcher does, but I've eaten 70-30, and I thought that was awesome. I thought 70-30 was great.
It's got to be a ribeye ratio.
Yeah, something like that. Like I've been ordering a lot from Frankie's free range meats like these last 3 months. And one time, like, because they throw in a lot of bonus items, like I just ordered today and got a Wagyu something steak as just the freebie.
Oh my god.
Like free Wagyu sirloin or something. But
they're $160 a pound at the butcher I go to.
Well, that A5 stuff is the like Japanese one is, but like that American Wagyu does not get enough love in my opinion. Oh. Like every time I eat one of those American Wagyu steaks, I feel incredible after. Like I'll start like smiling as I'm eating it, like dancing around, and then be like, "I've got balls of steel." Like, I actually set that as my phone ringtone after I got into eating lamb testicles. Like I put down the lamb testicle smoothie, and I was just like, well, I mean, it was lamb testicle brain and raw milk. Drink that, and I'm just like, I've got balls of steel.
Oh.
But that's how it makes you feel, man. Like you eat testicles, and that's nothing jacks your libido up like eating testicles.
I'm kind of curious to experiment.
Yeah, you hear that, Jane? You're gonna be a fucking sex freak.
But you also said to eat the organs that you want to heal, but I don't have any testicles to heal.
I'm sure you'll absorb the testosterone. I don't know.
Well, I mean, on Frankie's website, actually, one of the reviews for the lamb testicles or goat or whatever was some lady who was recommending, like, any women out there, eat these, you will love them. Like, I forget what her reasoning was, but it was a 5-star review. That, it was a highly satisfied customer.
Okay. You'll be fine, Jane.
Yeah.
They're really high in zinc, which makes you feel awesome.
I've heard zinc is sort of.
I think that's why they call them zinc.
Zinc is supposed to be really good. Like, I keep hearing good things about zinc. Like, it's in my.
Zinc is amazing. Like, I eat raw oysters like pretty much every day. I can probably count on one hand how many days I've missed eating oysters in the morning in the last like 6 months, and like they're amazing. You get iodine, you get selenium, zinc. Like, you get more than 100% of the recommended daily dose of zinc per oyster.
Yeah.
You get selenium, B12, iodine, and they just, like, you wake right up from the salt water and the iodine in them. They're really nice. And fortunately, they're like only 99 cents here.
Well, there you go. I think gotta move to New Jersey, get some balls in your mouth.
Dude, if you're ever around, I will totally hook it up. I mean, I might be out of them by the time that happens, but if it ever does, but like, if Tid the season ever happens again and we're up in Buffalo, I will bring, just like I travel with everywhere now, I bring my blender and I bring a cooler full of meat because, like, I don't cook anything really. So
you don't do jerky then? Would you do jerky?
I would do like homemade jerky, but I mean, like, the packaged stuff, absolutely not, because most of it's like soy sauce and spice laden.
There are a few out there that are legit carnivore crisps.
I would try those.
They're really expensive. I bought a cake, like a 6-bag.
That's why I haven't.
Yeah, they're really, really expensive.
That's why I haven't messed with that.
It'd be good if I was like flying somewhere and just want something to bring on the plane that's not gonna smell up. But
I mean, that would be perfectly opportune. I would do it in a pinch.
Uncle is accusing me of deleting his comment.
Whatever. We've had too much of a good time with George to be, coming over here and moderating that shit. Oh, fuck.
All right. I got to get going. I got to get back to work. I have like this huge project to help tobacco companies
sell more tobacco.
Like keep their sample healthy so that they.
That's awesome. I would totally work for the tobacco people.
Dude, they are demanding.
So I do need to knock.
They're one of our biggest clients. So
that's funny as hell, though. Like, especially because I was watching Thank You for Smoking just yesterday, and I like very rarely watch movies too. But I saw it was free on YouTube, so I was just like, "Oh, this movie was hilarious. Let me put it on."
Yeah, I saw that years ago. It's so good. Well, George, keep in touch with us. And we'll have you on again at some point.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, do it. Like, it'd be fun to see.
Yeah,
like, get Michaela Peterson to feature you on like a success story or something. Like, help.
I feel like, but the thing with Michaela, like, I feel like she would really enjoy talking to me just because, like, because because she had the mental struggle really hard herself.
Yeah, she was
And
super tough.
like for me, I was such a mess in my mind for such a long time. Like that was probably a bigger thing than anything, because like the schizo stuff was like the last thing I finally got right. Like after I got off the oral steroids, which was miserable, and
So
all
you
that.
were diagnosed as schizophrenic?
In 2009, I was diagnosed schizoaffective. And when my brain was disintegrating with the lesions from the MS, and I was going nuts during that time, instead of giving me an MRI to check my brain for any types of damages, they kept drugging me with psych drugs like quetiapine and trazodone and all those really nasty ones. And I would end up in the hospital for like a week because I'd be going crazy from the oral steroids and just my gut not being straightened out yet. And then they'd put me on those drugs and I'd have to quit them again and like detox those. Like it was a vicious cycle for a while. It wasn't until like I was falling down with vertigo that they were like, "Oh my God, you need an MRI."
Wow.
Always to the last minute, man.
Keep speaking your truth.
Absolutely.
I like want to spread the word.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I shall.
I'm not as convincing because I haven't had as dramatic an experience as other people like you.
You can always just be like, "I know this guy who I spoke to and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
He's had some tremendous results with this.
Yep.
And like anyone that hits me up, I talk to too. When people message me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, I will talk to them about like whatever. Because people who do reach out to me like that tend not to be doing so from the best place, you know? Like people who do reach out to me are in some pretty tight situations.
Yeah.
But some of them have been like, just said amazing things about me, and it's like the first time in my life I've ever done anything. That's why I just kind of want to do this for a while, like just coach people back to health, because I know what it's like to be messed up on so many levels, and I can relate to so much of the gratuitous misery of the postmodern age. You know, relate to people, that type of thing.
Yeah. Wow.
But I'm keeping you way longer than I.
That's fine. But yeah, this was, gosh, now you're motivating me. All right, I'm still gonna cook my steak tonight. But
well, no, I'll let you know when she goes full carnivore over here.
I need to go get some.
Yeah, like don't be shy about like the next time you have a nice looking ribeye, just before you do anything with it, just take a bite out of it. And if it's not like the best decision you made probably of your life, I'd give you a money back guarantee, but because I'm not selling anything, I'm just, you know.
Yeah.
I just, like as they call it, dude, yeah, as they say in AANA, it works if you work it. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. So work it. You're worth it to live. That was one of those lame rehab cliches.
Right.
Drilled into my head forever.
Sounds like it. It's just like you rattled it off.
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, it's they're just brainwashing camps. They try to make you just like this sorry piece of shit who can't get out of his own way when really you totally can. It's just, dude, most junkies, I can say this almost without exception, the majority of junkies I have met have just eaten junk foods, which gives them a junk mind that they want to kill the pain of by getting high. Like, and that becomes the cycle.
Yeah.
It's wacky shit.
And unfortunately, some people are more affected by bad diet than others.
Yes, some people certainly. Like, some people can get away with eating processed junk food until
I don't
old
understand.
age, but of course their health will eventually deteriorate. It's just how long before something serious happens to you.
But they also don't know how good they would feel if they changed.
Yeah, like if they got fat adapted and experienced ketosis for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, not having the annoying hunger pangs, which of course mess with your mind. Like, you can't think straight when you're hungry like that. Like, you don't reason correctly.
Mhm.
And it just changes so much when you're not burdened with that. It's wild.
Yeah, it's very freeing. It's so freeing not to be tied to the sugar craving. Like,
It
that is
really,
so that was big. And I never crave anything heavily sugar. I do crave the little berries, a little nut butter.
oh,
But
let me show you the honey. Hang on, I'll show you the honey I
yeah,
got the other day.
the big thing.
I'm not a huge honey consumer,
I'm big on raw honey.
but like I will have it sometimes. I just picked this up the other day. It
Yeah.
even unheated, raw unheated honey.
Wait, what about how does that play in the unheated factor?
All right, so right now I am reading "We Want to Live" by Agenus Vonderplanitz, if you've ever heard of him.
No.
And dude, he's mind blowing. He's like the primal diet raw meat OG.
Okay.
I'll message you his name because it's it's a very unusual name. Agenus Vonderplanitz, but he says in the book that they can say honey is raw when it's heated up to a certain temperature. If they call it unheated, it doesn't go over 92.8, so all the enzymes and all of the beneficial stuff to the honey remains perfectly intact.
Oh, okay. I never knew that.
Yeah, this was new on me too. I've been binging on this book lately because this guy he has some really mind-bending shit to say, and the book's not cheap either. I think I spent I forget if it was like 50 or 70 bucks, but it's a hardcover book, and it tells some truly incredible stories of him. Like, and he wasn't a doctor, but he was someone that was really, really sick. Like, he had 4 different types of cancers. He was autistic. He had an appendectomy, a vagotomy. Like, all this crazy shit happened to him. And he went to fast himself to death at some native burial ground somewhere in California because he was sick with something and just wasn't getting better. And he was just out there camping, and these coyotes got a jackrabbit for him to eat, like killed this rabbit and put it at his feet.
Whoa.
And so, because he was trying to fast himself to death, he thought, oh, if I eat this raw meat, I'll kill myself with it.
Yeah.
So he ate this raw rabbit and then like woke up the next day actually feeling good. So that started him on this whole long path of like bringing himself back from oblivion and bringing a lot of other people out with him.
Good. Yeah. Well, I feel like it's like these anecdotal stories that need to be told in order to, convince people to try. Because like mainstream medical,
they're all bought off. They're all bought and paid for by the plant-based interests, and that's not a good thing.
Mm-mm.
Like, I was just actually watching I watched today Frank Tufano's video where he tries the Impossible Burger, like side by side with a real one.
Right.
And he eats the thing raw first and then eats it, then tries it cooked. And when he eats it cooked, he was just like, I mean, first he remarks on the smell about how it smells like hexane and all this other toxic shit. But when he cooked it up, he was like, yeah, that's absolutely intended to be cooked. Like, it tastes nothing like it does raw.
Ugh.
And he's eating a beef burger like side by side with it, and he's like, this just tastes like beef.
Right.
Like, no big deal.
The way God intended.
But what?
The way God intended.
Yes. Yes, one simple ingredient, the animal. None of this chemically modified canola oil and all the other nonsense that's in there.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much of that.
Get rid of it all, I say.
Yeah, I know, dude. We would live in such a happier time and place. Like, so many people just have like no emotional resilience because there's just too much bullshit in their system, man. Like, people fly off the handle about every little thing and can't keep their composure, and I can recognize it because I was guilty of it myself for such a long time. Like, and if I wasn't like, you know, destroying myself or otherwise behaving like an asshole as a consequence of it, I was behaving in some other shitheaded type of way I shouldn't have been. And like, looking back on it, it's just like, I don't get how I didn't realize this shit sooner, but I'm, better late than never, I guess.
Yeah. And getting your story out there, of course, will help others that I'm sure will be like in a, need
That's
to hear
what-
what they need to hear sooner than later.
Dude, that's why I'm so vocal about it, because like, after what I went through, especially with the MS, like, and the fact that I got banned from the healing multiple sclerosis naturally
That's
group
just what throws.
because I did exactly that, but did it with all the shit. I did it with all the shit they say is bad for you. And they didn't like that.
More
They
power to
didn't
you.
like that at all.
Simple but extreme is what I say. And it's hard to do. Sometimes the answer, a lot of times the answer is very simple, but it's hard. And it's extreme. And it's hard to commit. I mean, like I said, I can't do
Yeah, like, so
for an extended period of time, but I like having it as a tool.
it really is powerful. But for me, I think like 3 months of it straight was when like the real change happened in psyche.
Okay.
Like, I was getting better really fast, but like at about 3 months was when I got over like all the temptations. Like, when I visited actually the Chicago area with my girlfriend, she ordered a deep dish pizza to the apartment we were staying at. And as someone who spent the majority of my life between New York and New Jersey, the professional curiosity got the best of me.
Uh-huh.
And like, I took a bite of it. I chewed it twice, just thinking like, oh, fuck, this is delicious. And then just spit it out. Because like, I just know the consequences if I were to swallow that. Like,
Deep dish is overrated. Let's
but
be honest.
yeah, I mean, it was just something new to me, but it tasted really good for that like couple seconds before I got rid of it. But that was like, that's the type of willpower I've developed with this. Only because like the consequences suck if I mess up.
Right. See, I don't have those consequences, but I do know that I feel better. when
Yeah,
don't.
but I mean, that's good though, because if you did have those consequences, it would really complicate life. It really does.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not 100%, like, I'm not at all 100% like of who I was before I got sick, because like damage was done, like serious damage was done. But like, I have quality of life now. I can do things. I can go out with people and have fun. Like, I don't hurt anymore. Like, there's no pain anymore. Like, there's quality of life. And that is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
But I am keeping you guys way too long.
No,
Yeah,
it's fine.
I'm really hungry. We'll continue this when you come on again.
Yes,
Yes.
most definitely.
All right. Well,
All
thanks.
right.
George.
Until next time, guys. It's been awesome.